next on the docket here are overreactions. You want to lead us off here, Jake, with your overreaction?
I would love to, because it's still fresh. It's freshy for everybody. This was the Monday Night Football game. This one I did watch, basically start to finish. And, you and I were both coming into this season very keen on Courtland Sutton
Mm-hmm.
and loving Courtland Sutton and thinking that connection with Russell Wilson would be the one. That would be the one on the team to really solidify. Did not look that way. So my overreaction, folks are saying the Russell Wilson and Courtland Sutton connection is a poopy. It did not look good. It looked forced. It looked infrequent. And it just looked a little bit smoother with Jerry Jeudy in week 1. Now, the whole offense for Denver, very questionable. And obviously, the big hullabaloo is about first-year head coach Nathaniel Hackett and his decision-making throughout that game, which is very, very questionable. And of course, the final drive that lost it for them, where they kicked the 64-yarder instead of just letting Russell take a few more shots, take a 4th down attempt, like that's going to come into question all year probably. But, I really do think that just saying, look, first week in such a spotlighted game with such a terrible finish, that's going to have the wheels spinning more for fantasy managers than it needs to, because they're question the head coach, question Russell Wilson and whether they're going to let him flourish, question Courtland Sutton because he was not involved almost in the entire first half of the game. He didn't see a target until almost halftime. Jerry Jeudy had a great yak performance where he caught just a simple little pass, took it to the house for a long touchdown, and you start to say, okay, well, maybe it's Judy's turn now. It is a Jeudy year. You have to temper that down. It's week 1, again, spotlighted game. Courtland Sutton started to look really good in the second half when he got contested throws by Russell Wilson. Once he finally started doing that, Courtland looked like the player that I think we expect him to be, which is, he's not the smoothest route runner. That's not his game. That's not what we were hoping for. We're hoping for the contested catches and the red zone targets. And the red zone targets have to come, especially after, Dustin, you must have just been, if you actually stayed awake long enough to watch Monday Night Football.
I did not. I won't lie.
You would have been so disappointed. Listeners, every time I watch a game with Dustin, and there's either a long, say 3rd and 13, or they're near the goal line. If a coach runs a draw play in those circumstances, Dustin wants to just throw something against the wall, I'm sure. You keep it all inside, but I'm sure that's what you want. And they did that twice at the goal line. They ran a shotgun draw run, basically. Once with Melvin Gordon, once with Javonte Williams. Both fumbled. Neither got to the end zone. Not only are they going to change that outlook and probably just do regular traditional running plays, but they'll probably get the wide receivers involved there. So long-winded way of saying Courtland Sutton's going to be just fine. I have no issues with Russell and him connecting, and Russell should have a lot better performances on the horizon as well.
Yeah, I hope so, Jake, for all my shares of Courtland Sutton, because I was a big believer. Even after his down year last year, I chalked it up just basically to the quarterback situation. So I really hope that they get on the same page here and the season will turn around for him.
I'm locking it in. It's going to happen, Dustin. So what is your potential overreaction here?
My overreaction is Trey Lance is garbage because he played awful in this week 1 matchup against the Bears. So it was not a pretty game. The rain, I mean, I don't know if you saw clips, Jake, but the field looked like there was a layer of water on it. It was raining the entire fucking game. And one of those games that are like fun to play in as a player, like I always loved it back in the day when I was throwing the football over the mountains. I always just loved playing in the rain. Like it was so much fun, I don't know what it was about it. And you saw it at the end when the Bears won. They all did the slip and slide down the field. That's how much water there was.
You got it.
Yeah, so the playing conditions were terrible. So going into this week, one, not every game's going to be a water game like that. So I mean that does change the game plan and how the game rolls out. But also they lost Elijah Mitchell now for an undetermined amount of time. Shocker, San Francisco running back got injured. They need to do something
It's
with
like
their
a
strength.
curse.
I know they need to do something with their strength and conditioning coach. Focus on those running backs a little bit more often. So I'm sure that changed their whole game plan on the fly, which Jeff Wilson, great pickup for the week 2 here, if you so choose to have him. But yeah, I think Trey Lance is going to be just fine. There's going to be better days. We expected to see some growing pains this year. Really, he had very limited action last year, so it's essentially going into his rookie year this year. Don't overreact. Don't trade him. Don't drop him. For God's sakes, don't drop him.
Lord, no.
Don't do that. There will be better days ahead of him. This offense will get on task, and I didn't look to see who they are playing this week, but I would expect that this week we will see better things out of him. Just chalk this one up as week 1. It's the weather, and that's about it.
Yeah, this is actually a game that I watched basically all of because we were sitting there waiting for the Packers game to come on. This was what was playing right before it, and yeah, the slop fest conditions that happens maybe once every 3 years. There's a game that is like that. You cannot expect. And Justin Fields on the other side of the ball was the same deal. I think he had 6 completions through like the 3rd quarter, because why are you wouldn't even try to throw the ball unless there was a wide open Dante Pettis on the other side of the field for some reason, which did happen. But like otherwise, you're going to keep things so contained. And it's just like ball security mode. You just want to make sure you don't lose the ball in those kind of games. So I'm 1000% with you. If somebody is foolish enough to trade away Trey Lance because of this game and because of Jimmy Garoppolo still hanging out there, take advantage of that.